Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We believe a rising tide lifts all ships. We are a community of storytellers, of restaurateurs, of technology professionals, and business owners all over the globe. We started on Clubhouse, moved it to LinkedIn Audio, and now we live stream on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching. We would love for you to join us. It's always better when we have more voices up here on stage. Today, we're going to be talking about old media, legacy media, if you will, versus new media. We want to learn about your media consumption habits. So we've got some things that we want to share, some deals that have happened recently, and not only that, we have some exciting news that we want to share with the community. So let's go ahead and bring the community up. Thank you guys for being here. We can get up to 10 people on stage. So if you are in the green room, welcome to the party. Let's get the party started. Matt Wampler in the house.
Let's get the party started.
Who are you? What are you building? And let's tell us a story about your consumption habits. Matt, bring us into the Matt. Are you a cord cutter? Are you tell us about how you consume media?
Matt Wampler.
Yes.
Matt Wampler, longtime owner operator in the restaurant industry, currently in recovery. Also a host of the Restaurant AI podcast and CEO over at ClearCogs, where we do demand forecasting for restaurants, telling you what to prep, order, and what labor budget should be for the week. And I have cut the cord. We've gone to the full YouTube TV, and I still utilize live TV to watch the news and sports. But, I would say I live pretty digitally at this point. Outside of news and sports, I'm not sure I'm consuming a whole lot of Main Street media.
Were you a newspaper guy? At any point in your life, did you what was newspaper reading part of your day?
So I felt like, to be a true adult, I needed to have the paper delivered. We were in Washington, D.C., so I had the Washington Post. By the way, the hardest subscription to cancel. Every time you try to reconvinced to do
maybe ClearCogs can learn something.
But I definitely got the newspaper and felt like a very adult to go pick it up. But I'm not sure I read it very often. Reading's not high on my list of things. But I get a lot of my information today from podcasts. I really like that audio format.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the things that I posted recently was just taking a look. Obviously, everyone saw the news that CBS has been acquired by Skydance, and CBS, the properties that they own is obviously Paramount Pictures, Nickelodeon, MTV. I mean, we all know CBS. We all know the shows on CBS, but to think that it's sold for $8 billion, which is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But then when you look at the fact that Elon bought Twitter for $44 billion
and paid cash.
It's a crazy world. It's a crazy to think about how many people, how many eyeballs are on YouTube. And I think YouTube is very interesting because I too was a DirecTV. Go ahead, Jason Berkowitz.
My story that I'm going to tell later when I come back around, but very fitting in this moment, is I'm reading Barry Dillard's autobiography right now. And Barry Dillard's one of those names you might know or not know, but he was the president of Paramount back in the day. Was responsible for Godfather and all these different ones. I mean, incredible thing, who moved on to QVC, and I'll tell his story in a minute when I come back around. But I just read last night where he was at the battle to buy Paramount in the early 90s against Sumner Redstone, who was Viacom, it was at $6 billion, went up to $9 billion. And then eventually they pulled out because it wasn't going to be worth its value in stock. But I say that today because here we are the arc of 30 years later, and it goes for $8 billion when at that point just Paramount, right, was going for that price.
Well, I think that's probably the best representation. Watching the news this morning, I think OpenAI is going to raise some more capital at $500 billion valuation, $500 million. I mean, if that doesn't say, where people are consuming today, just from a valuation standpoint, I'm not sure what does.
Wow. Amazing. Well, welcome, Matt. We'll come back to you. We want to welcome Robert, who's new. Welcome to the community. Can you unmute and let us know who are you? What are you building? What are you working on? You can share anything that you have to say about old media versus new media.
I appreciate, first and foremost, Shawn, for inviting me on to Rising Tides. First time on here. Great to meet everybody virtually. Hopefully I meet everybody live at some point. And again, Shawn, great to meet you. Love your content. Very meaningful always, and appreciate being here. So Robert Fanny, I'm the founder and CEO of a food service agency / brokerage called Gladiators of Hospitality. We represent manufacturers to call on regional national chains, hotels, large leverage operators in the food service sector, not retail. So if you're obviously eating it off a plate, that's food service. You're buying it off a shelf, that's retail. So I represent different manufacturers, all in food service, and I would ultimately work with chains, calling on the headquarters of chains, showing them, talking to them about the products from a data-based approach. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but onboarded Technomic as the third-party data platform to use instead of a piece of POS from a manufacturer, which is very biased, by the way, and an opinion. So the Technomic data gives us trend reports, incidents on menus, what is and what isn't, what's happening in the world of food service, and it provides gaps within these different chains on their menus that they may not realize they have. So I have a 6,000 square foot facility I opened up in Ontario, a couple miles from the airport. And Shawn, I was telling you about this, building a 2,000 square foot full-blown state-of-the-art test kitchen to hold chain innovations and ideation sessions here. And Shawn gave me a great idea to do a live streaming portion of, or have it all things live streaming, which I didn't think about initially, which is a fantastic idea. We're going to have, flat screens above the where the hood is, so everybody can see what the chef's assembling. But from the live streaming, it's a perfect play. And then I'm part of a national network across the country, so it's not just California. We're a network of covering the whole state or the whole country. From old media and new media, Shawn, I was historically, more of a newspaper initially. Yep. Now it's all things really digital for me. So the content, and clearly, I think the team will talk about this. We got to consider the source too from a digital play. A lot of times, somebody could be on Facebook Marketplace, and these ads pop up, and then subconsciously you figure: is this AI driven? Is this a real person? Is this a legit, qualified, viable ad versus a different digital platform where whatever content they're spitting out is viable and legit. But digital, Shawn, I guess, and team is really my 90% of the content that I gravitate to. So
amazing. Well, welcome to the community. Thank you for being here. It was so great to see you at the California Restaurant Show. Shout out to Rudy Gonzalez, who that beer guy, we saw him also at the California Restaurant Show. It was a great show. To everybody that made it out there. Let's go ahead and what do we got here? Seb, how about you? Welcome to the community. Unmute yourself. Who are you? What are you building? What are you working on? And go ahead and share us a story about your old media versus new media consumption habits.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Seb. I run partnerships for Tenzo. Tenzo is a BI and kind of performance management tool for restaurants. So we basically connect up your POS, your labor tool, your inventory tool, reservations. Our whole goal is to get managers, to get people walk in the restaurant to really understand what's going on, make better decisions, make more money for their business. Maybe some additional context. We're at, we have a big office in the UK. I'm based out of here in New York City. And yeah, so that's me. That's what I'm building. So I think in terms of old media, new media, honestly, I'm basically disconnected from, the kind of old media world. So mostly getting or staying kind of up to speed with everything on podcasts, right? So people like the Expedite podcast. I think it's Kristen Hawley, and other kind of content creators in that space is how I really stay up to up to speed. And honestly, it's also more manageable, right? Because I mean, turning on the TV and watching the news is just, you get all kind of this recycled content on things that you might not care about. So pre-targeted, lots of podcasts, and listening to them on like a run is more my speed. And same with like newsletters, right? But yeah, I think that's how I stay up to speed, and that's how I think about it.
Is there anything this community can do to help you with your current position? What you guys are doing?
Yeah, so I think what we find is really hospitality is all about relationships and connections, right? So we're looking to, if you work supporting hospitality businesses, that is from it could be branding, it could be operations, or if you just know people that are working in companies, whether it is, big players like Toaster Square or smaller ones. I'm always looking to meet these people, connect with them, see what they're dealing with, and potentially how we can help. Really, it's all about relationships, right? And I think that's what I'm looking for and working to build every day.
Amazing. Well, we're grateful. Was it Scott Turner that connected us? Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, I was out with having some pizza at Alley Cats in London last week, actually. So yeah, he used to be a customer before he was doing his thing now. I mean, he's amazing at what he does. We stayed in touch through the years, and I think it's him and also, of course, Adam Foreman. Those are the two people that it's easy to stay in touch with them, right? I think they're great at what they do, and it's.
Are you based in London? Are you based in London also?
So I'm actually out of New York City.
You're out of New York City. Got you.
Yeah. I go out there about once every 3 months for a week and run like a crazy person from event to event. They keep, workshops and trainings and, well, maybe too many drinks, but, mostly based out of New York City, but I stay very close in touch with the UK and kind of our partners there.
Amazing. For this community, Scott Turner just released our Sunrise Gratitude Walk on the Bulgarian Black Sea on YouTube. So you can go to his Auden Hospitality YouTube page and check that out. But Elizabeth Doss, Mike is yours. Who are you? What are you working on a Wednesday? And tell us a story about old media and new media consumption habits.
Sure. Really quick, Seb, are you on LinkedIn? And if so, would you mind sharing your last name so we can all connect and find you?
Yes, there you go. Good job.
Oh yeah, that's my bad. I realized I messed up the Sebastian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'll edit it, but it's Arrese, Arrese.
Sebastian what?
Arrese, Arrese.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'll tweak it to make it easy.
Sweet. Thank you so much. Because I wanted to make sure that whenever people come, we want to make sure we make these connections now, so that if your name comes up, I think it was a show we did years ago now, and it might have been Jason talking to, like, what is the trigger word that you want someone to think of you as the answer for? And so if someone says compliance, I want to say, hey, I know a guy. Like, actually, let me point you up to Arrow Up Training. And so I'm always wanting to know what is your word that you can reference somebody from. So this is a great community, and I've seen amazing connections and deals happen all across the world from this space. And so it's amazing. So my name is...
Are you putting him on the spot? What is your word? You got one word. Welcome to the community.
Oh, for Sebastian, what's your one word, Sebastian?
Your one word?
I don't know. I think, if I had to, can I hyphenate it? I would say something like hospitality tech. I don't know. It's not very exciting, but something, like hospital tech, maybe. I think that's an easy one. I don't know. It's tricky. There's a lot of stuff happening, so hard to summarize.
Well, keep coming back, and we'll all work on it together. Everyone always that's one of the things about storytelling is we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. You got to keep telling the story, keep getting better at it. That's why we always do the intros. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
What's your one word, Elizabeth?
I want different words, but I think gifts, obviously. If somebody talks about gifts, I want someone talking about me and what I offer people. And so along that line, I am a verified artist with Giphy. My gifts have been viewed over 6 billion times. And I help brands and businesses leverage that corner of the internet to have humor, to have connection, to have reactions that are branded to them, to use across platforms. And Shawn, I know what you're about to say. Yes, I've done my homework with Tenor. I have a pathway. And so I need to get with you or somebody from the team to set up your gifts, because as we know, Instagram is shifting a little bit. And some accounts are now only seeing Tenor gifts in certain places that it used to be Giphy. I am
Giphy works for me
diversifying.
now. It works
Oh,
for
it's
me
back?
now. It's
Okay,
back
good.
for me. Yeah.
Good. But I do know overseas, Instagram tries different things. So I think our friends in the UK are dealing with that split between Tenor and Giphy, but it's good to diversify anyway. So, okay, that's all those things. I'm also a social media consultant, and I always forget to mention this. I do host a conversation podcast vlog conversation with my friend Stephanie every Tuesday, and it's really accessible for people who are just trying to start out in social media, trying to DIY it, and talking about trends, all those types of things. Okay, so along those lines with legacy media versus new media, I was actually watching a TV show. It's from like years ago. James and I just never watched it, but it's about some military families and that type of stuff. And what was fascinating is, because this is set like 25 years ago, they were raising money for phone cards for overseas people, but the episode was referencing letters that people used to send in World War II. And what's fascinating to me is we have these like markers of communication over the years, where like radio was all there was, and then it was television, and then we've got the internet. And what's interesting is this cycle back to podcasting are basically radio programs. But the thing that has changed, I think, for all of it is who the gatekeepers are. It used to be you had to know somebody, or you had to do something over the top to be noticed by these producers that are doing it. But guys, we are the gatekeepers now. And in that reference of creating content and putting things out there, your limitation is you. Look in the mirror. It's you that are saying, oh no, it has to be this, it has to be that. But I want to say to all of us that I heard this the other day, share that perfection is a cruel taskmaster. One reason is you're never going to be happy with the content that you're putting out. Like if you're operating under perfectionism. Now, if you're striving for excellence and saying, you know what, I did the best with the tools that I have, with the knowledge that I have for this moment that I have, then you're going to be on fire, because you're going to have that marker to say, this is where I was, this is where I'm headed. So I just wanted to encourage each of you. You are your own gatekeeper in this world. And there's also, that's true even for legacy media, because I've watched Shawn, because of the localization of the restaurant, making sure you're still connecting with local media is a huge benefit. And they're always looking for stories and looking for people that are willing to come and create content and that type of stuff. So anyway, I just was thinking about that, and I'll hand things back to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Elizabeth. And shout out to Richard and Adam. I believe they're knocking on the door. As soon as we get some space on stage, we will let you guys in. Bruce Nelson, Mike is yours. Who are you? What are you working on a Wednesday? And share a little story about legacy media versus new media.
Sounds good. Hello, everybody. I am a fractional restaurant CFO. And actually, right after this podcast, I'm jumping on a seminar session that I'm presenting in Canada called Smart Pricing in a Cost-Heavy Market. So I know most of us are in the lower 48s, but our friends to the north just saw another round of tariff increase on the 1st of the month. And with a weak dollar, they have some bigger challenges in restaurants than even we do. So I will be going through a process of how to analyze a menu and how to adjust pricing based on your current reality. Boy, media. I look at the people on the screen here, and probably Dean's the only other guy that's probably approaching my age or close to my age. So I was that guy that had the newspaper dropped off at my doorstep every morning, and with cup and coffee in hand, I went out, picked it up, and read it before I even started my day. In fact, I had multiple magazines, and I was even the guy that watched a lot of TV back in those days. I want to say about 15 years ago when the internet took off, I cut the cable. And I have been pretty much digital since. And at that time, my kids were kind of young. I'm pretty sure it raised their IQs about 15, 20 points when I did cut the cable. But looking at what's going on now, I kind of equate this to I have friends in the music industry. And just like media, other medias, I mean, there was a time when the record label was the gatekeeper. If you didn't get picked up by a record label, nobody was going to hear your work unless they saw you at a local club. The internet changed that completely, and there are tons of great artists out on the internet, but they have the same challenge all of us have: is how do you get heard? You know, the sea of information out there is so great. There's so many wonderful podcasts, and I have this kind of fear of missing out, so I try to catch all of them, which is impossible. But as I started growing my business, this is the only space I live in. I live in LinkedIn, I live in Substack, a couple of the other apps. I'm trying to figure out YouTube, and I'm starting to produce videos and put them out there as well. And to your point, Elizabeth, perfection is not even in the ballpark. But it's definitely changed. I think for me, looking at the current media, I don't need to attract 1,000 people. I just need a community of people that are looking for what I do and are interested in what I do. And, it's maybe 100. So I think at least for me, I'm not trying to go out and do something big. I just want to use the medium to find the people that are interested in what I do.
Great stuff. Appreciate you, Bruce. Dean LeBay, we have a special announcement. Would you like to share the news, Mr. Dean LeBay?
Oh, I'll let you do it. Listen, my name's Dean LeBay. I'm down here in New Orleans.
What are you working on?
My name's Dean LeBay. I'm down here in New Orleans. I'm just an old retired paperclip salesman. And Bruce, thanks for aging me there. But you're right. Media has changed. I'm from the day of the analog antennas, where if the Cowboys game came on Sunday, your daddy had you up there turning the antenna until the game came in just right. So yeah, everything's changed. I knew nothing about media, technology, Instagram, didn't know anything. But something happened to me where I had a whole lot of time on my hands. And I, like you, I started listening to podcasts, and I started listening to people on LinkedIn because I had a lot of time on my hands. And that's where I ran across Shawn. And I think Shawn's going to tell y'all something that I'm excited about. So I'll just let him do it.
Well, as everyone in this community knows, Dean LeBay has been putting in the reps since we were on Clubhouse. The man shows up. The man does the work. He is the biggest supporter of everyone that's in this community, welcoming new people, inviting new people in. But Cali Barbecue Media, we are growing, and we are hoping to get more people to know about who we are and what we do. And we've never had an official referral program. Dean LeBay is our first official referral partner. So he actually has an official dean@calibbq.media email. He is on our internal Slack team, and he is available to help with us getting more clients into our B2B restaurant tech storytelling business. So we're really proud. Dean's already put in some amazing work at the Louisiana Restaurant Show. We're grateful for that work. And if anybody out there wants to have a conversation, obviously you can talk to me, but now you can also talk to Dean. So I'm very excited about it, Dean. Thank you. We're really excited, and the team super
I'm
grateful.
excited too.
The community is proud of you.
Listen, I'm going to jump off. Is there somebody in the wings?
Adam was waiting. I don't know if he's still there, but Adam Foreman is
Okay.
available.
Well, if he comes back, let me know. I'll jump off. No big deal.
All right, I'll let you know. Jason Berkowitz.
So let's continue our conversation about Barry Dillard, because I'm really having fun with this arc of this individual who affects so much of how we consume media and have over the years, and really following his gut and where he saw something that got him excited. So here he is. He was, I picked the book up and put it down, so I've forgotten some of the facts, but, started in the William Morris agent room, as people did, and consuming and looking at how deals were. He was there, and at 18 years old would go back and just read the catalog and files of how he followed the money. He always followed the money. How did people get paid? What was going on with it? And that informed him as he moved over to CBS, and he actually became a CBS guy, was the vice president of CBS for a number of years before he went over to Paramount. All this is to say, they kept trying to bring him back, and he was one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. And his girlfriend at the time, Diane von Furstenberg, who's a well-known, I guess, whatever, she's in the schmata business, as we say, said, go check out this little place in Pennsylvania, QVC, I think it's called. And this is, late 70s, early 80s, or 80s or something, maybe 80s. And what's going on there? And it was for, I think, quality, something, consistency, whatever QVC stands for. And he goes into this little shop, and all of a sudden, this little production studio, and he sees this people selling things and then people buying instantly. And as somebody was selling something, the ticker would go up. They were just watching this go up. And all of a sudden he's sitting there, in his aha moment, right, that we talk about, that Dean talks about, his potato moment, I think is what his aha moment was. Son of a bitch, media can be interactive. It doesn't need to be just movies and TVs. We can actually push this out and get responses in real time. At the same time, and look, he developed Michael Eisner, who came on to be Disney's CEO. This is, guy's had his hands in many, many different interesting pots. He's like, son of a bitch. And he was offered all of these amazing deals to go back and run the studios. By the way, here's a big one. He launched Fox TV with Rupert Murdoch. He's the one who went to Rupert and said, you got Fox movies, you need to have Fox TV. I think we can compete against NBC and CBS. So we're talking about an innovator. So throws every other deal out the window and goes to QVC, and he's like, this is something I can get my hands around, and grew it from a 20 million to 60 million to 5 times multiple of that within, I think, 2 years, because he said, why are we not making media interactive? Why are we not feeling in real time what people need? That then he moved on when he went to go try to buy Paramount again. But I love this conversation right here, or that story with this, because it was the idea of everyone thought he was crazy, but to him, that was the new media. That was the evolution of it. That was what do you do with eyeballs? Where do you reach eyeballs? And how do you actually maximize the eyeballs you have? I'm looking at that with a big thing that Josh Kopel says with restaurants. He goes, you're always trying to get new people in the seats. Are you actually using and leveraging every dollar you can get out of the people who are there in your seats at your restaurant at the moment? And so to me, you're sourcing the right type of eyeballs, and then you're maximizing what you can get out of them. I thought that's a really cool sort of evolution. One other quick evolution is, I was back in Detroit last week, and there was this whole, at this author's house, and there's this whole conversation, discussion, almost battle going on between whether or not you could say you read a book if you heard it on audio. I'm like, well, just
really?
I'm like, just change the fucking name. So sorry, F-bomb for Troy there. Just change. Don't say I read, say I consumed it, or say, I got, or I'm listening to. But there's this whole thing of, is it that, can you truly say that you've read or consumed a book? Because no, you need to read it. No. And so I went to one of the authors.
I would say no. I mean, I'm an audio learner. Like I love reading, but like, Yeah, if you listen to a book, you've absolutely you've consumed the book.
Maybe
you
we
might,
don't
you,
say
you might actually retain more by listening.
Well, would you say
some
you
people
read the book?
Yeah.
Maybe I said so. Change the word, like right. You could change the word. So, but here's the thing: I went to one of the authors and I said, "Is it hitting your pocketbook?" He was like, "No, it's actually great because it's expanding the amount of people that would be a part of this. I'll still get my $1.50 out of it." And I was like, "Great. Then what's the argument? Why are we holding on to sort of these, constraints and, ideology or something?" So another cool sort of evolution that's happening in real time. I downloaded, I guess, my second book then yesterday, Abundance by Ezra Klein, to sort of, to see what's going on with that, which will be a fun conversation in the future. So there are my two evolution of media stories.
Well, I just started last night, Titans, The Rise of Hollywood, on Netflix. And it is fascinating to look at movie motion pictures and where it started with Thomas Edison and creating the movie motion picture. But then all of the people that we know, from the studio legends, from the Paramounts of the world, the Warner Brothers, the Fox Studios, like all of these people were real people growing up with this huge change in technology and watching like how movie theaters were made. It's absolutely fascinating. If you guys are interested in media, I highly recommend it. I've only watched 2 episodes, but they've both been absolutely fascinating.
What service? What streaming service?
Netflix. It's called Titans, The Rise of Hollywood. Spencer Michael, what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me again. Love being on here.
Who are you? What are you building? And tell us a story about your new media versus old media consumption habits. And Bruce, I used to read a newspaper every day as well. I got my own paper delivered, started with the sports section, eventually started reading the business section, then cared more about local events. But yes, it was mandatory reading, even for someone as, I guess I'm an old man now, but at least that's what my kids would say. Go ahead, Spencer.
Newspapers that's my tie to, what's starting in the restaurant business. When I was a cook at my dad's restaurant, I wouldn't get the newspaper at home. I would wait till I got to work and I would read it, during my breaks, and, same thing, start with the sports section and move on from there. But newspapers was always part of being at work. When you get those moments. Spencer Michael from backofhouse.io, and the community is working because Seb, if he's still listening, we met with him about a year ago, and I'm reminded that we needed to reconnect with Seb because we would love to have him back again and sort of explore how we can add Tenzo to the back of house and the marketplace and what we do. So we help restaurants find tech solutions. That's what we do. So something like Tenzo, if you're looking for a BI for restaurants that can tie in a lot of different functions, something along those lines, we marry up the right solution to the right restaurant and make sure that you are kind of cutting through all the muddy waters that can be out there for restaurant technology and help you find what's going to be right for the restaurants. That's what we do. When it comes to myself and old legacy to media versus new, I'm really I've dipped my toes into new media now. There's a new podcast that we're coming out with through Back of House, and then trying to enhance my social media footprint. So I'm really, for the first time in life, really starting to attack the new media. Old media for me, we discuss in our house about cutting the cord all the time, and we never can, for what Matt said at the beginning, for basically.
Are we talking direct TV or cable?
Well, this would be, I mean, in Canada, this is cable. It's cable. Our internet and our cable is the same. It's the same bill, so we're paying the company the bill anyways. We're paying for it anyways. Somehow it all goes to Vlad Guerrero's salary because it's on Rogers. But it's so we talk about all the time, but we just can't, because sports and news. That's how we consume our sports and news, is through. But I personally love the serendipitous moment of flipping through the guide and finding a movie I haven't seen in years and going, oh man, all right, I think Rich Eisen talks about the remote drop. Okay, remote drop, we're done. I'm settling in on this movie. I think I watched I think I watched The Hunt for Red October in like 15-minute spurts. I probably watched it 12 times over the course of 2 years because it just every time was on like, oh, it's they're about to do the Crazy Ivan. I gotta watch. I can't turn away. And so, yeah, I think that's really the only reason right now to keep it around. And if as the digital solutions become more and more viable, if I'm able to watch the Super Bowl without having any type of interrupted connection on some sort of digital streaming, well, then I guess I'm going to cut the cord and move on from there. But until that moment, until if I'm watching a live sporting event, it's all of a sudden there's a lag or it's buffering. Like, nope, this is not. Nope, you're immediately no. I'm going to go back to the cable hookup. But I love being on this community because I think that it's going to help me build this, personal branding, I guess you could say, into this new media that I'm excited to jump into and explore even further. Because I think I'm excited to get started. And you guys are the experts. You know it better than I do. So I enjoy hearing from everybody.
We appreciate having you in the community. And a reminder to everybody new and everyone listening on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, we have an Instagram community, so you can send me a message on Instagram. I'll add you to the group chat. We have a LinkedIn community, and we have a Slack community. That way we get, if you're doing anything, if there's any way we can support you, the community will follow you back on any of the platforms. Whatever you're creating, we want to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how we can support you. Richard Liverman, do you have anything to educate us with from the other side of the pond?
Good evening. It's a really interesting question, this. And I think there's a little bit where there is this fascination with new media. And I'm just going to put a different perspective on this. By the way, I'm hugely invested in it. Not all new media works. So my favorite social media of all time is MySpace. I'm still trying to get back into my account. Who remembers 3D films at the cinema? It was going to be the future. And I think there's this little bit where sometimes we rush for technology and we forget to ask why. So just there's that hint of caution. Last week I got interviewed for our local news. I got interviewed by the BBC. I was at an event.
It's kind of local. It's kind of a
was
big
that a
deal.
setup? Was that
a big deal?
I can't. Yeah, that was a setup.
It was a setup.
BBC, let's go.
It was a setup because I wanted to tell you all about it last week and I couldn't because I sworn to secrecy. And what was really interesting about that event that I went to last week was there were lots and lots of traditional media there. I spoke to somebody from the Associated Press Association. I spoke to TV journalists. I spoke to radio journalists. I think what's really, really interesting, something that we forget in the rush for technology, is how do we tell good stories?
Yep.
And I think there is this little bit where there is so much technology and so many different routes to market. And I'm going to refer back to MySpace and I'm going to refer back to 3D films. Like Alice in Wonderland was bloody awful, like in 3D. And we were told that 3D was the future. And that was designed by the movie companies to stop piracy. But the reality of it is the world had changed anyway. And I think we need to be really careful that we don't forget to do what we do best, which is storytell. For me, how people receive that might have changed, but radio is still listened to in cars, podcasts is still, there's still a space for traditional media. And I think we need to be careful not to throw it away completely, because there is something about credibility. And I'm going to use an example from the UK. The BBC has to fact check. Yes, we still believe in facts in the UK, and we like them because facts are important when you're making.
Don't you guys have the most gossip newspapers there is on per capita?
That is true, because we like a bit of gossip, but there's also facts, and we do like to fact check things. What's really interesting when it comes to new media, there's an extremely popular podcast by a guy called Stephen Bartlett. He didn't fact check a load of stuff that went on it, and he gave out a huge amount of misinformation. And I think there's this little bit where
he did, or the guest did.
Well, the podcast did, sure, because I think as a consumer, it's the podcast, and you can, and I'll find the link so people can look into it. But there's been a lot of controversy about it, and recently, I think there is this little bit where traditional media has its place. And I think there is that little bit where it has that importance and it has that relevance. I think for us as a community, as leaders and as people that, you know, we go about our lives and our businesses, for me, it's not about the technology that delivers, it's the story that we give. Because if our customers are on LinkedIn, then we need to be on LinkedIn. If our customers are on TikTok, we need to be on TikTok. If our customers are watching the regional news at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., that's where we need to be. And I think sometimes we get so focused on the media, we actually forget the storytelling. And I think there's just a little bit of a challenge. Not all new media works. A lot of it is amazing and fantastic. And LinkedIn and Instagram has massively helped my business. And I'm absolutely fully engaged in it. But I'm just going to put that little caveat that traditional media still has a place. And I think just remember to focus on our stories. And if you do that, that's what your customers are interested in. That's what your consumers are interested in. They don't care where it is how they can receive it. So just a perspective, my interview on the BBC, I shared it digitally. There were people, I had friends ring me up saying, I saw you on the news tonight.
Did you ask them if they saw you on the news or if they saw your repurposed on new media?
No, they saw it on the news. I mean, don't get me wrong. My international friends saw it on my content that I put out this week.
Yeah.
If you want to have a look, I put it out on my socials on Monday. And I actually clipped the news interview. But when I had friends who I've not spoke to in a couple of years, turned around and said, I saw you on the news tonight. And I think there's something quite interesting about that. None of my friends who have ever picked up the phone and said, I listened to your podcast the other day. My business contacts do, which is great. So I'm just saying there's a place for both. Storytelling's the key. And go and have a look at my post on Monday because it was the craziest week I've ever had last week.
Brilliant.
Shawn, may
yeah, please.
May I jump in real quick?
Yeah,
Richard, I really, really enjoyed your summary of everything. Couldn't agree more with you. And if I said earlier, I wasn't sure if you were on, Richard, is there's no shortage of all things digital with podcasts, content creators, etc. But the problem is the viability of these people, the legitimacy of the people, the content. Are they really experts or so-called experts? Let's go and look at the Instagram fitness people, right? I mean, I just read an article on this. 99.9% of them, maybe I'm a 0.5% off, are on PEDs, right? Performance enhancing drugs. They're claiming they're natural. So you got the audience who doesn't know better, God bless them, thinking, oh, that's attainable. So I need to follow this creator, this influencer, whatever you want to call these people. And then they never, of course, get a fraction of the results and what they're looking for because they're not on PEDs.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I've got a teenager at the moment in high school, school as we say in the UK, and he's studying history. And in history, they teach you to fact check. Is this source a reliable source? Is it da-da-da? And I think as a society, we need to be really careful where we get our information from.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put it out there. Who's bought a product off Instagram and TikTok and been disappointed? Now, we normally say, who's bought a product and been pleased? And I can put my hand up for both. And I think there is that little bit where when we're getting our information, and we'll stay out of politics because that's a whole different ballgame with you guys. But there is that little bit, where do we get our information from? And where are the facts? And I think there is that challenge around new media that anybody can go and broadcast on the internet and be a loudmouth and talk with credibility, or they can get their source from AI. And I think there's that little bit where as consumers, as well as people that generate content, we need to start thinking about what are the sources and is it relevant and who we trust and why.
I mean, the reality is we're in such an interesting experiment right now.
It's a very interesting
experiment. You went from having institutions like CBS and the news that fact checked everything. And then all of a sudden it went to like Google, and where, you still, when you Google something, you're reading through which is the right source.
Which is the paid, what are the blue links versus the organic links. And
we're just
maybe they're just really good at putting out content.
Yeah, we're just going to give the power to the people and let people trust who they think they should trust.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be fascinating to see how this experiment ends.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Laura, welcome to the show. Who are you? What are you working on? And tell us a story about new media versus old media consumption habits for you?
Okay, I was working on unmuting. Good to see everybody. I've been listening. I missed a few people. So hi, I'm Laura Wilbur, and I'm in the business of showing up for my restaurant clients and bringing friends. And by friends, I mean 21 million expense account diners looking for great restaurants to dine in at, carry out, order catering, and in some cases, book private events. And as many in the community know, I came up in sales through radio advertising. I was national sales manager for Clear Channel Radio Los Angeles, now iHeartMedia. Starting out, I remember joining, I don't know, my third radio group that I worked for. It was in Sacramento. And they had just come off of a big payola scandal. So the program director actually wrote a book. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about the days when program directors could make or break artists. And it was really the only way an artist could get their music out there. So the amount of money that program directors were taking in bribes at that time was absolutely staggering. So I like what Elizabeth said earlier about the democratization of the creator economy and what we're seeing now, because again, in working in traditional advertising, for all those years, I had to say to a restaurant owner, hey, give me a bunch of money. I really hope I send you a new customer, but neither of us will ever know. You have a great restaurant, you know, we're making a strong offer, or you have a great event. We have a large loyal audience. We have enough frequency. It really should work. But you're going to have to take a leap of faith with me because, you know, I'm never going to be able to prove whether this worked or not. So what I love about the new pay for performance guest acquisition model that we have now is, in a lot of cases, a restaurant doesn't have to pay money up front and hope they get a customer. It's, you know, hey, come on my marketplace. If I send you a customer, then, you know, we will have earned the opportunity, hopefully, to earn a commission or, you know, something. But if not, there's no cost to you. So that's what I think about in, you know, legacy media from an advertising standpoint versus the new economy. And also, many of you know, my daughter-in-law is a content creator on TikTok. And it's so much fun to see how these content creators they work so hard. They're so good at it. And it's wonderful to see the brands seeking them out, coming to them saying, hey, we'd like to pay you many thousands of dollars if you'll do one 30-second video for us. And you don't even have to post it on your own channel. We just want to be able to say that it's you, and then we will post it. You know, we'll buy media to get that video out. But I'm learning so much from her about how to be, in my smartphone storytelling, just how to be really real and not too, you know, salesy or razzle dazzle. It's just being as authentic and conversational as you possibly can. And that's what really resonates with the followers. And it's really also interesting how invested these followers are. They are like little sleuths. They're fact checking everything. They are talking amongst themselves to like say, hey, does this add up? We saw this, we heard this. They're little investigative reporters, and they're, you know, I think the truth really does come out in a lot of cases with some of these content creators. So those are my thoughts.
Amazing. Laura, we appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Everybody that's watching, we hope that you join us on stage next time. You can go to betheshow.media/rising tides and get the link. We can get up to 10 people on stage. We're going to go around, tip, takeaway, homework assignment. Matt, kick us off.
My takeaway is that the legacy media has been around for like 400 years. And when you really think about it, it's like,
Since the printing press?
Yeah, exactly. Like this is a weird little experiment that we're going through right now. And
it's incredible.
It is.
Like,
it's fun.
From the print, like if you think about all the way from the printing press of like That is crazy.
Yeah.
We can write right now and communicate to London, and we can communicate to Canada, and we can communicate to Sydney. It's just a matter of who's watching and who's listening.
And that's all brand new. It's kind of a crazy time to be alive.
It is a crazy time to be alive. We appreciate you, Matt. Spencer, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
I think that everything that Richard said was very poignant, and I enjoyed it. And I think that I don't have a tip or takeaway, but a question, from Laura's experience there about Instagram influencers and restaurants, and is it worth it? And because I do have my clients asking me about it and what they would do, and I really, there's some that are so cringe salesy that you have to avoid them, but they have all these followers. But when you're watching it, they're just getting paid. They have no invested interest in this restaurant whatsoever. So being genuine, I guess, is that would be my takeaway, is in everything you do, be as genuine as you are. Even if you talk too much like I do and take a long time to make a point, that's who I am. So I don't know, Laura, if you have anything to add to that from your experience.
I think it's absolutely worth it. Especially if there's a local influencer near your restaurant client's place and they live in the community, and they can figure out who are those people that are genuinely, community members. Or in my case, I send business diners in. Is there somebody traveling for business that happens to go to Chicago on a pretty regular basis and has a favorite restaurant that is truly authentic? Because that's what I'm learning too about my daughter-in-law, is she has these brands that she absolutely loves and spends tons of money at. They just haven't found her yet. But if they did, it could be so powerful for them, because her followers are so incredibly loyal. I mean, every comment is, where did you get that shirt? Where'd you get that blanket that I see on your bed? Like, they want to know every single thing that she's buying, and they will spend tons of money doing the same things that she does if they can.
That's amazing. Go ahead, Laura.
It's
What's your takeaway? Homework assignment.
Just how grateful I feel to be living at this time when we do have all of these opportunities to express ourselves in this creative way, to build community with like-minded people that are also willing to build in public and to learn in public, as we all are. And, really this year I've been focused on learning as much as I can about AI. So I just purchased a couple of books about, one is something about singularity is nearer. I just ordered it, so it hasn't arrived yet, but there are a lot of great books. Okay. Yes. I remember that. From
AI First, Adam Brotman and Andy Sack. These guys
what do you
are absolutely
think?
Brilliant. Phenomenal. The stories from, Bill Gates, Sam Altman, Reid Hoffman. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. There's so much out there. So that's really been a commitment of mine to just learn as much as I possibly can about it and figure out how to put it to work for myself and my family and certainly my clients.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Dean LeBay, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Back on kind of what Spencer and Laura was talking about, I think the young people today have got the ear of the consumer tomorrow. I've got a 23-year-old daughter, and she's plugged in, and she knows what's happening, and they're authentic. And I don't know, I think it was Jason Mike can help me out here, but there used to be a Grace Slick. She was with Jefferson Airplane, and back then she said, you can't trust. This was early in her career. She said you can't trust anybody over 30, and then once she turned 30, she said, you can't trust anybody under 30, over 30 and under 30. But I disagree with that. I think the young people, the 35 to 18-year-olds, I think they're on clue with everything going on. They're tied in, and that's who the consumer, that the restaurant industry is going to be dependent on them going into the future, because that's who's eating at restaurants. That's who's supporting them. So anyway, my tip, takeaway, whatever, is come back next week. Make sure you bring a friend, because we're better together. Thanks.
Stay skeptical, Dean. It's all part of a long con we're all in on.
Stay what? What did you say?
Skeptical.
Skeptical. Stay skeptical. This is a community of optimists for sure. Jason Berkowitz, a tip, a takeaway, a homework assignment.
Coming back to an old media legacy titan, Michael Ovitz, big agent for many years. He was one of the ones that was very instrumental in getting advertising to pay for movies inside the movie. And so he was one of the ones that, and they thought he was crazy at the time. He was one of the ones that was kind of like, well, why are we not charging Coca-Cola to have a Coca-Cola in the script, in the movie, right? And Wayne's World did a great job actually parodying it to such an obvious point that it was amazing. But it takes, whether it's Barry Dillard and sort of looking at QVC, whether it's Mike Ovitz and saying, how are we, who's paying for it, right? And so in commercials, Shawn, you'll be the show, not the commercial. We used to joke, shows are just what happens in between commercials because they're paying for it. So what does everything lead to, from a click to a link to a buy to a purchase, right? With Laura, with your daughter-in-law, it's linking to sell more. How are they tracking? So I like that story of Michael Ovitz where he kind of looked at it because he was an agent who packaged it all together. And he was like, well, why am I giving away power when I can give money to my actors? Why don't I take money from Coca-Cola to feed them and not just the studio? So really kind of always looking at it, and then as always, follow the money.
I like that, Jason. I will add on the product placement side, next time you're watching Netflix or any type of series, even like a reality show or anything, see how many times they drink an adult beverage. There's always champagne or something. And see what kind of reaction, if anything, that you feel in seeing that. And it's crazy the amount of money that alcohol producers are putting into these new media series.
Yeah, car companies as well.
There's a great scene from Thank You for Smoking. Remember that?
I love that movie. What a great movie.
We want to make smoking cool again. And and they were trying to product, in a 100% oxygen atmosphere. Wouldn't they just burn up? Like, don't worry about that. Yeah.
I'm going to rewatch that. If you haven't seen Thank You.
I haven't seen that.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Movie. Yeah. Robert, welcome to the community. Hope you enjoyed it. What's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment?
Indeed. I've got a few key touch points. And again, I just want to thank everybody. A bunch of learnings today from a lot of seasoned professionals and industry experts. Really, authenticity is king. Authenticity is king. And again, Richard touched on it on this, and I mentioned this earlier. Understanding our audience, really, because we all have customers in different capacities. We all have customers, right? To understand them, our audience, what they read, what they follow, what they watch, why. So now it's no different than in concept than any of us going to a foreign country. Now we're speaking the same language, regardless. We're talking shop with the population, the same language, right? So the customer, understanding them and being authentic, and you can't fake that, is king, really, in those two plays. And having meaningful content. And Shawn, I meant this when I met you. Your content to me before I met you was very meaningful. Okay,
thank you.
You're one of those individuals that deliver content that is viable and has an impact. It's not just hot air, if you will. So that meaningful content, to constantly deliver that in all capacities is a big deal to me personally, and will continue to be. One of the main reasons I wanted to check this out, Shawn, and get to understand the world that you've put together here and your podcast deeper is I want to get to the 22nd century. It's like playing three-dimensional chess, right? We know where we are right now. It's a moving target, but I want to be ahead of things from all fronts in the business model, and to understand that. Lastly, I'll say it's great ideas come from good ideas, right? So this has, to me, today been very, very impactful for the hour that we've been on, and I want to thank everybody on here. Laura, it's good to see you. Laura's a good friend. So great. Enjoyed hearing you, Laura. You're spot on as usual. But no, really, and I mean this. And Shawn, again, thank you again for inviting me on.
Well, it's this is a community effort. I got a Cali Barbecue Media team. I got Stover and Mike producing the show now. I mean, we've come a long way. And if it wasn't for everybody that's up here and everybody that joined, it would just be me talking. And it's way better having more voices up here, more depth of experience, depth of understanding. So thank you, Robert. Please, everybody, follow Robert. Follow anybody that's new that's come in on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, whichever digital playgrounds you guys are on. Richard Liverman, takeaway, homework assignment.
Yeah, just democracy is a beautiful, wonderful thing, but you have to look after it. Otherwise, it can go very, very wrong. And I think that's the thing. We've democratized media, but we need to be really, really careful with it, because whilst for every great and good influencer, there are plenty of people out there who are using new media in bad ways, in the same way that people have used traditional media in good and bad ways. And again, depending on your political beliefs, you can choose who you want for that. The other thing I'd say, it's been a really fascinating conversation. What Matt said about living in this experiment, it really does feel like that. And there's that little bit where how can we prepare ourselves for it? And I think it goes back to telling great stories and being truthful. They're old-fashioned concepts that fit really well in new media.
Amazing. Just a reminder, every Wednesday in August, we're doing Rising Tides Live. September, we will probably go back to 2 a week, which is every Wednesday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. London time. If you're in Eastern Europe, like I was in the summer, it's 8 p.m. Is when these shows are live. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Spencer, Dean, Jason, Robert, Richard, Laura, and everybody on LinkedIn, everyone on YouTube, everyone on Facebook. Stay curious, get involved.
Thank you.